रूपकदामह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते सप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पञ्चाकृतद्रव्यस्य कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. I'm going to share my screen. Service. Art. Just some very
Yes,
quick.
Prabhu.
Chapter 1 is the first step in God realization. Then chapter 2 is the Lord of the Heart. Then chapter 3 is pure devotional service. There's a sequence.
Pranala Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Can you pause it, Prabhu?
Canto 1, chapter 19 ended with
Prabhu, when this is being played, if you choose share audio in Zoom and you mute your microphone, it would the sound quality would be better, Prabhu. Your microphone has to be muted, ideally. When you click on share, you get an option, share computer sound.
Prabhu, I am not playing from computer, Prabhu. I am playing from a tab.
Oh, okay.
Are you
Dheeraj
getting
Prabhu,
free sound, Prabhu?
Dheeraj Prabhu, you'll be able to play it?
yes, Prabhu. Just give me a
Yes. Yes.
Sound not clear, Prabhu?
Because it was your microphone was on, the sound was not clear.
Okay.
It's become a little slow, Prabhu. Just a moment.
I'll share. I'll do that, Prabhu. I'll do it.
Prabhu, I have the laptop open. Can I share it, Prabhu?
Okay, please.
Prabhu, I'll do it now. It's done.
Okay.
I'll do. Share.
We're going to be reading from Canto 2, Chapter 3, which is entitled Pure Devotional Service, The Change in Heart. Just some very quick review. Chapter 1 is the first step in God realization. Then Chapter 2 is the Lord of the Heart. Then Chapter 3 is Pure Devotional Service. There's a sequence. Canto 1, Chapter 19, ended with some questions of Maharaj Parikshit. What were those questions of Maharaj Parikshit? Oh, scholars of Canto 1. What were the questions at the end of Chapter 19?
What is the duty of a dying man?
What is the duty of one who's about to die? Yes. And? How many times have you read that chapter? Many times, right? Judge your memories. Go ahead. See what you come up with. It's related. What is that subject matter that one should hear, chant, and remember? He asks what's the duty of people in general as well as one who is about to die? And what is that subject matter that one should hear, chant, and remember? So, Chapter 3 begins, the first verse says, Maharaj Parikshit, as you have inquired from me as to the duty of the intelligent man who is on the threshold of that, so I've answered you. And as well he answered, what is that subject matter? So it's in chapters 1 and 2, but chapter 2 ends with, one should hear, chant, and remember the personality of Godhead. And that's one's duty. One's duty is in conjunction with hearing and chanting, dedication of all things should be unto the personality of Godhead. So, in order to get to that conclusion at the end of chapter 2, chapter 1 has two main parts. Chapter 1 is form a conception of God. And it starts with form a conception of God. For people that have no conception of God, form a conception of God within nature. See God within nature, the universal form. See God within nature. And the other part is nivritti. Nivritti means detach oneself from worldly, sensual existence and form a conception of God. For starters, for people who have no conception of God, at least seeing God within nature. Second chapter. Once there's a conception of God, and the concentration upon the conception of God becomes more prominent, then one can take up the process of meditation upon the form of God within the heart. And he goes so far as to say, leave aside that other conception of God within nature and take this one, God within the heart. And then there's a description of God within the heart, the process of meditation, and more on detachment, nivritti, more. It's prominent throughout the whole second canto. Because in order to go to point B, you have to give up point A. You can't hang on to point A and carry point A with you over to point B. You have to let go of material enjoyment. The mood, cultivating, gathering things for material enjoyment. And God conception, meditation of God upon the heart, hearing the message of the personality of Godhead. There are many, many, many other wonderful points. That's like skeletal. And the ending is those two questions have been answered. Hear, chant, remember always about Harikatha. And all activity should be focused upon, in conjunction with hearing, focused upon serving the Supreme Lord. So then, here's this first verse. I'm going to cover quickly 9 verses in the beginning of chapter 3, which I'm sure you're going to remember next time I come back to visit you, because you don't want to be embarrassed like this time. You don't remember what happened last time. Okay, good. Very attentive. Shukadeva Goswami said, Maharaj Parikshit, as you have inquired from me as to the duty of the intelligent man who is on the threshold of death, so I have answered you. Purport. In human society, all over the world, there are millions and billions of men and women, and almost all of them are less intelligent, because they have very little knowledge of the spirit soul. So, Prabhupada he doesn't mess around. The standard of intelligence is knowing what is eternal. And those that aren't pursuing the eternal, but rather they're hanging on to the temporary, they'll never know what is the eternal. Even theoretically, what to speak of practically. So he says, almost all of them have a wrong conception of life. For they identify themselves with the gross and subtle material bodies, which they are not, in fact. They may be situated in different high and low positions in the estimation of human society, but one should know definitely that unless one inquires about his own self beyond the body and the mind, his activities are total failures. So Prabhupada set the bar up. Below human, or with an active intelligence. Intelligence that acquires beyond the temporary. Therefore, out of thousands and thousands of men, one may inquire about his spirit self and thus consult the revealed scriptures like Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. But in spite of reading and hearing such scriptures, unless one is in touch with a realized spiritual master, he cannot actually realize the real nature of the self, etc. So, first comes inquiry, and that goes to the scriptures, but then realization. So scriptures must be accompanied by the guidance of a realized spiritual master, and without that guidance, one isn't going to receive realization. Is the point? Then, out of thousands and hundreds of thousands of men, someone may know what Lord Krishna is, in fact. This is all discussed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's discussed in Brihad Bhagavatamrita also. It's very... In Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said that Lord Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, prepared the Vedic literature in the incarnation of Vyasadeva for reading by the intelligent class of men in a human society which is almost totally forgetful of all genuine relation with Krishna. So that's a challenge, yeah? People that are in the age of Kali, practically devoid of any understanding, even any inclination to inquire, what to speak of approaching of the scriptures, what to speak of guidance of a spiritual master, what to speak of understanding the difference between the individual soul and the Supreme Soul, what to speak of understanding Krishna. So Vyasadeva compiled literature for that group of people. Challenge. Even such an intelligent class of men may be forgetful in their relation with the Lord. There's people that take the literatures that Vyasa compiled and really apply themselves. In the previous chapter, chapter 2, text number 35, close to the end of the chapter, there's a very interesting verse where Shukadeva Goswami says to Maharaj Parikshit, the personality of Godhead Lord Shri Krishna is in every living being along with the individual soul. And this fact is perceived and hypothesized in our acts of seeing and taking help from the intelligence. It's a fabulous, intricate purport where one can step by step, not exactly prove the existence of God, but come to know the existence of God by distinguishing things. I won't go through the whole purport, verse and purport, but by taking help from the intelligence, one can understand there's a distinction between the soul and the Supreme Soul within the same body. Beautiful purport. But even such capable people who can make that discernment may be forgetful of their relationship with the Supreme Lord. Just like a yogi, there are some yogis who, by seeing the Super Soul, they think, that's me. I'm God. Because the desire to become God is very strong. So the materialist may think he's God, the impersonalist may think he's God, the meditator may also think he's God. But the relationship between the individual and the Supreme Lord it's not just that it's subtle, it's our disposition being in the material world is such that we turn our attention away from Him. And when we turn our attention, even when we're trying to meditate upon Him, that disposition is very strong. Very strong. Even such an intelligent class of men may be forgetful of their relation with the Lord. The whole Bhakti Yoga process is, therefore, a revival of that lost relation. This revival is possible in the human form of life, which is obtained out of the evolutionary cycle of 8,400,000 species of life. The intelligent class of human being must take a serious note of this opportunity. Not all human beings are intelligent. So the importance of human life is not always understood. Therefore, manishinam means thoughtful, and is particularly used here. Manusheshu manishinam. A devotee needs to be, Prabhupada taught this repeatedly, a devotee needs to be thoughtful. An application of thoughtfulness is that we don't, a devotee, one who is advancing in spiritual life, doesn't just do the do's and avoid the don'ts. Devotional service is far more than just vidhis. Yes? Do this, don't do that. You can create a machine that does this and doesn't do that. Where's Krishna consciousness? So the intent behind it, the conscious thought behind the activities that we do, being consciously present while we do each of the things that we do, refrain from each of the things that we refrain from. That's Krishna consciousness. So the devotee is thoughtful. And thoughtful persons will capture this message. From the preface, the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. Introduction to Bhagavad Gita, page 7 at the bottom, 2 sentences. Lord Krishna descends specifically to reestablish the real purpose of life when man forgets that purpose. Simple. What's the purpose of life? Even then, out of many, many human beings who awaken, that's the purpose of life. There may be one who actually enters into the spirit of understanding his position, and for him this Bhagavad Gita is spoken. The purpose of life. And so, it's not achieved just by recitation, reciting verses, memorizing verses, behaving this way, refraining from that way. Those things are necessary, that's goodness. Transcendence is to enter into the spirit of the understanding. The spirit of the understanding that says we have an eternal relation with Krishna. This human form of life is meant, it's designed, it's got like a little tag on it that says the purpose of this human form of life is to realize a relation with Krishna. We rip off the tag and just use it for something else. But the designer's intent was that one. I saw somewhere a slide. Does it make sense that you hook up a Rolls Royce to a plow and you go plow your field with the Rolls Royce? No. It's designed for something else. Tractor, yes. Horse, yes. Rolls Royce, no. This human form of life is, out of all the species, forms of life, it has a very, very special purpose. Realizing our relationship. You say God realization, self-realization. Relationship with God. Relationship with Krishna. And also that's what's behind all of our activities of devotional service. And the devotee is thoughtful. Oh, yes, that's the purpose. And be present with that mindfulness of purpose when executing duties. A Munishinam person like Maharaj Parikshit must therefore take to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and fully engage himself in devotional service, hearing, chanting, etc. of the holy name and pastimes of the Lord, which are Hari Katamrita from the previous chapter. That's what we should.
Thank you, devotees. Over to you, Pranala Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing and playing it. Yeah, devotees.
You are not much audible, Prabhu, today.
What about now, Prabhu?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, devotees. Do you have anything to share? Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Do you have anything to share, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Very nice lecture. I mean, I was just thinking about that particular line which said that realization means self-realization, God realization. It's actually very nice just to try to understand what Maharaja was saying. That's it, nothing specific. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Maharaj was mentioning about how devotees should be thoughtful, manishim, and he always mentions that many times if there is a question that how do you do if you are becoming mechanical in your process, how do you make changes in that? And Maharaj would always say that press the reset button and see what you are doing, why you are doing what you are doing. So here also Maharaj was mentioning the same thing about is that thoughtful. It's not that we are just doing the activity, but and Maharaj would also give that five. That is the case. Then Maharaj was mentioning once that there was one devotee who had a parrot in his house, and he would say, "Hare Krishna." So then Maharaj would give example that your parrot can actually chant the name of the Lord Hari, but we as the human beings, we have to put that consciousness, thoughtful consciousness behind the activity that we are doing. Otherwise, it is just a robot that who can do the same activity. It is very important for me. I was, feeling that the activity is not just about doing the robotic activity, but the thoughtful, consciousful activity. It's very, very important. So that was one point that touched me. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Mataji. Sulechna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandatpanam. So in this purport, Maharaj mentioned the currently whatever we are doing, the do's and don'ts, following that one. So those are far, far beyond for the devotional service. There are so much to do. The same point is mentioned also in the Meditations on Krishna and that book by Maharaj. So here it's revealing that point like devotional service very far, far away. Not only the do's and don'ts. So many are there like penance, austerity, and utilizing our free will. All these things that I liked very much, Prabhu. And also one more point Maharaj mentioned uh, like the intelligence. So first we should have the inquiry, and then we need to read the scriptures, and then we will get the realization. So by taking the help of intelligence, so we can understand the distinction between soul and super soul. So these points.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Anyone else? So what I liked is from Mara's appreciation. Whenever Maharaj starts the lecture, he always gives the background to get the clarity and to the audience what are we hearing and what is the background behind it. So he always starts with the background. Now he started with the chapter 3, but he started from first canto 19th chapter. What were the questions by Parikshit Maharaj, and also what were the answers in the first chapter, second canto, and what is the second chapter, and then he came to the third chapter. So it gives a lot of clarity to the audience. So that's what I like very much. Shamkun Prabhu, do you have anything to say here?
Nothing else, Prabhu. Nothing more.
I think it's 7 o'clock. If nothing is there, then we can close the call for today. Thank you all very much. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।